what I have found again and again is that there are moments where I'm able to make enough space to listen to that still small voice, to that inward voice of Christ that leads me into a different way of living, a different way of loving in the world.
The first Friends, especially George Fox, the core of their message was Christ has come to teach his people himself. It's not a theological thing. Friends experienced unmediated discipleship. Just like Peter followed Jesus and heard Jesus' voice, got the teachings direct, had to encounter Jesus' personality for good and ill, that's what Friends are experiencing. So that was the inward teacher. Fascinatingly, just like the Holy Spirit spoke through the apostles at the Pentecost in such a way that everybody heard the Spirit speaking in their own language, so too the Christ Spirit in all ages has been speaking in ways that people could understand in their situation and in their times.
So the still small voice is about us understanding that when we still ourselves and quiet ourselves, and I think part of it's like making ourselves not be the center of the story, like that I am not the center of the story.
I think it's helpful to remember that for most of us, we don't see writing on the wall. Most of us don't hear a vocal leading. Most of us don't frequently have these like dynamic, mystical experiences, although they happen.
So we have to be quiet. We have to lean forward and say, oh, oh, yes.
When I listen, when I really listen, I am listening to hear God speak. I am listening for God's voice, God's signal. What that means to me is the signal that moves me to aliveness.
So the still small voice might be consolation. It also might be reproof. It also might be inspiration or challenge or encouragement. I get a sense of a way forward and a comfortableness in my body, mind, spirit, which is saying, yes, that's not just you, although I have to be part of that co-creation, but that's God speaking to me, the inward Christ, the inward teacher.
Now that inward teacher, we also believe, has been present in all ages and in all people, because the inward teacher is another way of talking about the inward light. And that's the Christ Spirit at work in all ages, if you follow John, which Friends like to do, the Gospel of John, I mean.
It's been my experience that the most clear invitations to live in a way that is about love and wholeness come in a voice that is very easy to ignore. That it's very easy for me to let my ego, let my fears, my anxieties, the ways that I'm bound up govern the way I live my life.
It's almost as if the energy of the soul in all of its power and its richness and its movement, that which has the capacity to create universes. My belief is we have a tendency to suppress it.
And so oftentimes I think it's important that we learn to quiet enough to discern the Spirit's, Christ's pattern of speaking to us.
Finding ways to really tap, locate that energy and allowing it to come forth, it's a power. It's a power. And that power, in order to break through the ego structures and the racisms and the classisms and the homophobiaisms and all those isms, in order for Spirit to come through that, there is this aliveness and power that pushes up and out, and the body quakes. That's one way of accessing it.
putting this still small voice at the center looks like not doing anything until it's clear, until you're truly led.
Even if it's telling me I must do something I am not happy about maybe engaging in, or even if that is a discomfort place, I still will have the sense of comfort and calm. There's a sense of a deeper peace that accompanies those commands or those encouragements.